Hey, everybody. All two of you. Billy Ray and MPN. Can you guys hear me? Okay? Well, you know what? Let me put on the headphones for a minute so you can hear me. So I can see if you hear me. All right. Got me? I hear myself. Don't know if you hear me. Billy. Oh, you guys, can you hear me? Check, check. Okay. Hey, Mr. Wood. All right. So, how is everybody this Monday before Christmas? I was getting ready, getting ready for the show, and I found a greasy. I found a surprise actually from June 30th, 1986, and I'm sure I haven't seen this since then. Check it out. $1.95 or not? Yeah. So I don't know how long. Well, the reason I bought it was right there, the 12-page tour section. Ozzy, Wasp, Keel, and oh, excuse me, quite a few actually. And sadly, I am not a big Judas Priest fan, but to that avail, the Rob Halford centerfold is still in it. And then this, thought that was pretty cool. So he's using Laney amps, then his Washburn guitar, and then there was also, let's see, Ozzy, big thing on Ozzy, which is the whole reason and this is before Zach, so it's still Jake. Yeah. Some Jakey. But there was a picture of, and Dane had one of these guitars. Oh, there you go. But Dane, there's an ad in here for a guitar that Dane had. And it was weird looking through here and seeing all these old ads. I was like, oh my God, I forgot about these. Uh-oh. Apparently I tore something out. Seymour Duncan. But there was a, hold on. Oh, Ernie Ball strings. Remember that ad, everybody? Let me find this real quick. Oh, the hearing aid, the sessions. That was great. Oh, here we go. Check it out. Wonder if they'll still do this. 11 hot hits for a penny. I think I still owe Columbia House some money for some stuff. That's 40 years ago. Denon tapes. Oh, let's see. Damn it, where'd that go? Kaler strings. Lyrics for Crocus, Phil Collins. Hold on. Dio. But Dane had one. Oh, look at this. Diamond Dave. David. Wasp. The real wasp. Keel. I used to like Ron Keel's, the Keel's band. Then he went country. Yngwie uses DiMarzio. Kramer ad. Who's all in that? Damn, there's a bunch of guys in that one. Look at this. Let's hear it for the Floyd Rose Tremolo. That's a cool ad. I might cut that out and frame that one. 'Cause we all know I like me Floyd's. Ted Nugent. Alex Van Halen. Where in the hell did that ad go? DOD Road Warrior pedals. Man. What's the new gear? Shure microphone. Washburn guitar. And 80 amps. Come on, man. Where'd that go? Here it is. Oh, on the back cover. Dane had one of these. Area Pro 2. There you go. Pretty interesting to find this. Got one page tour and a couple of things tore off of it, but other than that, Kramer. Oh, there you go, Eddie and Kramer Farrington. I have that guitar. I have an 87 or an 88. Oh, I don't know if they'd do that, Peggy. It's not that. It'd be nice if someone did, but apparently I had $1.95 invested in it, so say what, $207 tax and all. Twisted Sister, are parents really afraid of them? Yes, says drummer AJ Pirro, which he died not too long ago. Or maybe it was a while ago. I just remember he passed. So hello everybody, and welcome to the Monday night before Christmas. And Merry Christmas to everybody. I almost didn't do a show today. And reason being is, if you look right here, I fell, and it's about that big. I tripped. I went to catch myself on the other side in the cabin area. I just have the one where the TV and the video games and stuff are. I just have a rug on the concrete floor, but no padding. And I tripped, and my wife had a table made for me 5 or 6 years ago, and it has to do with my gun training and stuff. So it's an American flag table that has a magnet hidden, and you can pop it up both sides, and it's got gun storage in it, and it's all wood. And I tripped, and I put my hand on it to catch myself, and the damn thing slid out from under me, and I did a header into the carpet, which with no padding was basically stopped dead on the concrete. So, yeah, wait a minute. It hurt like hell. Still hurt. Yeah. And I can tell you, the concrete didn't give. It may have cracked. I don't know. I may have cracked it. I hit it hard enough. And my mom is here. for the holidays. And of course, she panicked because this is exactly where I had my accident right out of high school that almost killed me. But they said if I lived, it would heal stronger than it was before the accident. So I'm okay. Plus, then when I fell, I was out of it. I hit the ground, fell off the car. My fault. Fell off the car, hit the ground. I remember falling off the car. Don't remember hitting the ground. Then I woke up just for a second in the emergency room and projectile vomited clear off the table. Then the next thing I know, it was 20-some days later and I was in the hospital. I was in a coma all that time. So my mom was like, I said, Mom, last time when I landed, that was it. I'm right here talking to you. We're fine. So, but she's 80, she's going to be 83 in March. And she was like worried. But she's here with us through January 6th. So, yeah, I was 2 weeks out of high school. 2 weeks after graduation that happened. Again, my mistake, fell off a car. You can't, it didn't occur to me that a Volkswagen Baja, the round roof, when you start falling, there's nothing to grab hold of because everything's sloped. So I found that out the hard way. And this is, I grew up from 9th grade on. We would go down the road side with a truck here and a truck here. Like, a little bit, not even and not completely behind, about half and half. And at 65, 70 miles an hour, we would jump from the front truck, the bed, to the bed of the other truck. Did that for years. Could have died any time if I'd landed off one of those. Never happened. This time I on the car and fell off and damn near died. So today, and it brought it all back there for a minute, though. I will say that. So, all right. So, what I want to get to is, thank you, Brian. Sliced my finger open the other day, putting that mic stand up over there. Because there's a parts bin where I have a lot of guitar parts, little stuff, and it's like probably a 20-some tray bin. It's mounted to the wall. And I got the longer mic stand. I told you guys I wanted to get it off that table because you guys kept hearing, every time I touched that table. So I set it up there, and the base isn't round, it's oblong. So when I pulled the mic over and tilted it down where it needed to be, the base, it started falling off. So I thought, okay, I can't do anything because it's a container. So I thought, well, I have packing tape. I'll just run a couple of strips of packing tape over it, hold it in place. I got the first one on the front side, and then when I went to go against the wall, I put the packing tape across. Then I took my hand like this to shove the packing tape down, and apparently, there was a razor blade there underneath the foam that I got over the wall. It's also over there. So there was a razor blade in between an orange and black piece, and I'm going like that, and it sliced it from here almost to the middle. I've had so many operations and injuries to my hand. It's a wonder I can both hands. It's a wonder I can even play at all. So solos are basically out unless it's a good day. Some days I can do them. Most days I can't. I can't play anything like I used to 40 years ago. So now I'm basically stuck to rhythm. And so I'm working on that. And hey, Mr. Mick Lewis. But it's a wonder I can do anything. So stupid stuff like that keeps it happening. So, okay. Anyhow, I have the Tease silver. I don't know. Okay. Answer this to me. It's silver inside, black on the outside. Is that a silver burst or a black burst? I never did, because all my life I ran into people say, oh no, that's black coming in on silver, that's a black burst. Then I've had people say, whatever color it is, so I'm just using silver black. Oh no, the silver's in the middle coming out. It's a silver burst. So I don't know which one it is. Silver? Okay. So anyhow, I got to work on it. It's got the 9.5 or 10 radius, and the Floyd that's on it is like a 16. So I got to shim the center 4. I got to put one shim across all 4 and then 2 more on the 2 centers to get that radius going so I can get it set up right. The neck needs worked on, and I'm going to take the pick guard off and make sure I have it shielded right, because there was a buzz, but before, I tried it a little bit ago, there wasn't one. So I'm going to take the pick guard off and check everything. So let's get to the bench, because again, I don't want to step on anybody's toes here. I'm not trying to do a show like Johnny's. Now I got to figure out which one it is. I think it's that one. Yep, there it is. Okay. All right, I'm going to switch the other microphone, and we will go from there. Now I'm going to take the headphones off because you guys can hear me. Since I'm the only one here, I don't need them. Unless anybody wants to jump in and join me, I can add you. I'll leave it in here. Mike, you want in? Okay, Mike, who did you see today? Okay, I got to see that. Tell me it was, wow. Has to be George Lynch, because all my other heroes are gone. I just said George Lynch. Let's see. Yeah, he's like the only one left. Randy's gone. Ozzy's gone. Well, Jake, I'd say Jake and George. Dime's gone. So it have to be either Jake or George. That leaves up my heroes. Dime's gone. Ozzy's gone. Randy's gone. Eddie's gone. So many of those people are gone. Oh, yeah, always. You know that. Why, that's who you was with? Oh, yeah, that's right. He was in the Monterey. I thought he said he was going to, yeah. He was going to the Monterey area today. That's right. Had a drink. Wait, let me guess. Mai Tai. Or a Long Island iced tea. That's pretty cool. Oh, okay. Now, well, I got a head injury today. I don't remember too much. I will, let me switch to the other, let me go to the other, let me go to the other bench, and I don't need headphones since no one wants to join in. So here we go. And by the way, the headphone things, they're going in the mail tomorrow. Obviously, I didn't get to the post office today because I kept wanting to go to sleep and they wouldn't let me. So. Okay, so I assume you all can still hear me, correct? Because this mic, wait, make sure I got it on. Yep, it's on. So what we're getting here, well, this is there, brand new gloves. It tore them all up. So got to do all that, but that's, you know, that's second. I want to get this set. I thought I had more of these, the individual saddle shims, which they go in like this under that bolt for each individual saddle. And I used to have a bunch of them. I'm down to 2 full ones and 2 halves. So I know I used the halves before on a nut because I didn't have nut shims. So now I got the nut shims. So this is a shim, another shim that comes on the Floyd. And luckily I kept 4 of them. So I can put that on, which will cover all 4. And that would raise the B and the A where they need to be. And then I got to do the D and the G like that on top. That would give me that arch to get it right. Because if I get it where it's here, then it's hitting crazy over here. So I got to do all that. And then I'm going to take this off, make sure everything's tight. But I'll show you, by the way, these are my 3D printed holders. They hold that like that. So I decided what I'm going to do is this a meter, brand new meter. It'll be modified to this. And this is, that's not the connection here. The connection is, it's the actual wires going down into here. Then I put that on, and I put to stiffen it up there just to protect it. So it's going to be the brand new meter, new wires, except I have to alter them and put a jack on it. And this printer stand that I'll drill out, hold them. $25. I'm going to start selling them. First of the year, $25. And that, it's $25 plus like $3, $4 to ship it. That's it. And you'll have yourself a meter. And here's what happens. So plug it in. Set it on your ohms. Okay, now watch. Tell me what. So my back pickup is 1565. In the fourth position, or well, second position, 392. In the middle, we're 517. Fourth position, we're 260. And the neck is 450, 416, 516. But what happens, also, not only does it tell you what your pickups are putting out, it'll also tell you if your volume knob is going bad. It'll stop. Or if I flip it and like I'm getting it there, so I know it's this one or this one and this one and that one. When I'm flipping through the switch, if it's not working, it'll tell you which pickup. Obviously it's like the neck. Okay, well, the neck's not working. It's not reading through. Then you come back here and say, okay, wait a minute. That's working there. And I come over here. That's not, or is, however. So these not only measure that, but they also kind of help troubleshoot. So I'm going to be selling the whole package with printed cover. Computer, stop. I'm going to sell the whole thing, $25. No, I have everything on full. But there's 2. Watch, everything's on full. Okay. So we're at 516, 260, 516, middle, 392, and 1560. So if I turn the tone, good to go. So anyhow, I'm going to start selling, and it'll look just like this. Got a pure tone in here. So it'll be just like this. $25. And so That's a pretty good deal. And I'm only going to make about, if you $25, so say $27.50 standard shipping, that gives me about $1.50 profit off it. And because I have to buy the jack, I have to buy the stuff, print that color out. That one's $25 so it's not a bad thing. It's a good tool to have. So that's just something for you guys if you want to think about it. Starting in January, I'm going to get a couple of them. I'm going to make like 4 or 5 of them, have them ready to go. And then we'll go from there. Janice is not here, correct? I don't want to blast your eardrums out. So I thought I shielded in here. Come on, get in there. Thought I shielded in here. But I've been working on so many guitars. The guy that Schecter I worked on last week, he picked that up today around 1 o'clock. And sadly, I lost my I had a book that I wrote down whose guitar and what I did, what date, and I can't find the book. I don't know what happened. So we're going to take this off, or out, okay. Tear it apart. This is a Tease Strat. Why is that? Good. Yeah, I figured that, Peggy. That's usually what happens with everything in my life. I stop looking for it, I find it. Then you always hear, it was in the last place I looked. Naturally, because once you found it, are you going to look somewhere else? I never did understand that. We had some excitement here yesterday. There was a basketball game right here, and I live right by the high school that I graduated from. And and one of the referees had a heart attack during the game. He's in stable condition. He's in ICU, but he's in stable condition right now. So I want to show you something else. I kind of showed you guys the other day on Jimmy's show. These right here. So what these are is you put an input jack in here and wire it with the regular jack on the end, and you plug this in your amp, and you however long wire you want, you with these in one area. So what I'm doing is 1, 2, 6 amps I have in here. I'm making 6 of these in different color to match the one the top angle. It lights up red on the inside. The tubes light up red. There's like red LEDs behind it. And then the second angle down, the Invader 150, it's got blue LEDs in it. So I'll have a red one, blue one, a silver one for the Mesa, and then a different color red for that B52, and then a white for the Randall, then black for the Zombie 2, the little Bantam Zombie 2 that Rich got me. And where I sit at the desk, these are made to mount underneath, hold on, and I'll have all the cables run to them where they are. They'll be running behind them. Just come around and plug in the front. You won't see any extra cables. And right where I'm sitting at the desk, there'll be all 6 of them in a row on the bottom. So I can take the jack out, plug the guitar into any one of them, and compare them all. I'll have them all on the same power switch, big industrial power supply. So I can just turn that on. It'll turn on all 6 amps. Then I can just take, prior to the volume wise, set them up if I want them. But then I can just plug the guitar into each and every one of them so you compare stuff. And this, I got one over there now mounted, but I had this extra cheap wire. So this is what it looks like. Mounts in there like that. And I put, again, shrink wrap wire or shrink. So this will be, that'll be under the desk. The wire will be hidden. You won't see it. And then I can just like take 1 amp, another amp, so you guys can hear them on the show. And if I get 6 more, or 5 more mics, I can mic each one of them. So, see how that goes. Obviously, I can't have them loud, because if I do, my wife will have, she's also trained in pistol. She's a pretty good shot, so you might have to have Billy come get on the squad car radio and tell him. So it's just I'm constantly trying to think of ways to make what I'm doing, again, I'm on Johnny's shows more than I'm on this one. So I always wanted to make sure that I was doing my part on Johnny's shows, because I know that was a complaint he had with his other co-host, and he alluded to some of it the other day. They wouldn't even wear headphones for him show, which kind of sucks. He said they wouldn't wear headphones. They just use like whatever camera they had, the laptop monitor, computer built in or camera built in, etc. And they didn't get good equipment. And so I always made a point that since I've been on Johnny's show is to improve my end of his show so he doesn't have anything to worry about. And after the initial spend of about $3,000, which I had to get through to my wife, because spending money on somebody else's show, I'm not doing my own, so that didn't go over too well, but she got over it. So I wanted to show him that I was serious about it. I'm not going to. And I know when, before Laz and all those guys knew me, Laz had made the comment to Johnny that I'm probably another guy like the other guys and just use Johnny to get my name out there and then go do my own thing. And I told Johnny I am not going to quit him like the other guys did. Now, if he doesn't want me on the show anymore, that's fine. That's it's his show, his prerogative. Oh, wait, that one right there? Something just fell out of it. And naturally, I can't find it on this black carpet. Here's a hint, guys. If you set up your own workbench, don't put black carpet under it. So yeah, I just wanted to prove to him, hey, I'm serious about this. I'm not here to get known and try to, I wasn't around those people did that, but I've heard stories from everybody, from him to people who were around when they were here. Mike, I'm sure you know a lot of them, a lot of the stories, but I'm not going to try. I hope I don't seem like I try to take over his show, because I don't want to do that. And I'm just trying to prove to him that, hey, I'm not trying to take over your show. I don't want to take over your show. I got no desire to do that. But so what I did here, let me explain this first, because that's what I'm trying to do here. Probably should just take these off. Be the best thing. But just trying to sneak away to get them in there a little easier. Yeah, I'm just going to take them off. Take these out. So yeah, it was like, let's improve my end of his show. And I was hoping that would, prove to him that I was serious about doing. So I'm not going to, he doesn't have to worry about me quitting. And, if he wants to change the show and doesn't want me on it, that's fine. I'll be disappointed. I'm not going to lie. But it's his show again. So all you got to do is just say, dude, you're no longer needed or whatever. That's fine. And just don't send me the links. And, no harm, no foul. But I got too much invested in it now not to do something. So, and I don't plan on doing exactly, I would not, this is what I would do right here, basically. Is just sit here at the bench, work on stuff, and answer questions with you guys, help out any which way I can. So I got the main one there. Then I'm going to try to see if I can finagle this one in here. Keep that one in line. And you may think, hey, put the screw in first. So what I'm doing is the solid, the long one, the long bar, is basically lifting all four of them. Then I'm going to put the other two D and the G string. As soon as I find that one, it just fell. That was the only I had. Hold on. Gotta get. Happened. I think I'd see something silver on a black rug. Under the. Hold on, I have to get my phone to use the flashlight. But my point is, I bought all that stuff to prove to him that, I'm here to stay, and I want to make my part show part his show solid, be professional. I don't want him to be able. I don't want him to. I don't want him to have to say, something didn't work because I didn't. Me, not him, because I didn't have my end of the show covered. So that's what I was trying to do, is make sure that everything I had be stuff that would need to, make my end of the show professional. But I know he doesn't want the shows to be a comedy routine. And I understand that. So, I just want it to be professional, and I want him to know that I want him to know that I'm here to be professional also. This show. So what this will do will make the arch that is necessary in here to lift those four up enough to where I can get the action set right. So the strings don't rattle in the middle and everything sounds good. So the stainless block fell out of it. So much nicer. Don't get destroyed, rust, like the regular black do. I told him the other day when we were talking, before the show, and I said, I don't mind. I like doing this bench thing, which I really do, because again, I just like helping people, help people be able to set up their guitar, and maybe save them some money along the way. That's my goal. That was what I promised that gentleman, 1987. Only just to pay it. And it's been so long, I'm just used to it now. But that's how I look at it. So I'm here to help. You guys got questions? Yeah, well, I never watched them. I didn't know. I mean, I know who they are now, but I never watched any of the shows with them on there. When I started watching Johnny's show, it was just him and Robbie. Then I came on one night as a guest because he started asking for photos of guitars, and I said, okay. So I just started sending him photo after photo, and he's fine. You got to get on the show. So I got on the show that first time, which was a Saturday night. No, Friday night. Friday night. And then he didn't say anything about Saturday, but I got a text from Robbie, and he was just, I don't even know how to explain it. Robbie's telling me that Johnny's going to replace him with me, and he didn't like him. Johnny didn't like Robbie anymore, and it was like, I thought, what the hell am I getting into? That was the very first phone call with Robbie was that, oh, you're going to replace me, and he was like mad at me. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And then 40 Grit did the same thing. He sent photos of guitars, and then he got on the show. Then he started coming on all the time. You know, and I still don't understand. There was I'm not going to say her name. Those of you who are around will know. There was a lady that would come in the chat, and I guess, well, apparently she's married and has kids, but from what I understand, Robbie obviously had a thing, and that's why he would write all those songs. And he would tell us before the show, if so-and-so comes in here, I'm instantly playing my song I wrote for her. You're basically telling Johnny. You know, telling me and 40 didn't mean nothing. It wasn't our show. We don't control anything. But he was telling all three of us. She comes in here, I'm picking up my guitar and playing my song for her. Right then and there. And I think that's one thing that had Johnny mad. It was like Robbie was trying to, you know, dictate the show, more or less. And then one time Robbie was playing, and I had just got the Helix floor. Never had anything like that before. And the only reason I got it is because of my son. Cole talked me into it. He's like, Dad, because I am, at some point in time, I am supposed to play a couple songs with Faith and Failure on stage. And Cole's like, Dad, you can't be taking those stacks and all that stuff. You need to get one of these. So I got one, and I only had it, I don't know, maybe a few days. I didn't know anything really about them. But Robbie started playing one of his songs, and it was kind of a catchy tune. So I plugged the guitar in, I plugged it in, but I didn't turn the Helix on. And I was just kind of like strumming chords with it, trying to figure out what he was playing, because, you know, Robbie held a guitar like this. He couldn't really see what he was playing with his chorded in. And I'm trying to figure it out. And I thought, well, wait a minute. I could hear it through the headphones. So I turned it up so I could hear it. And I hit, it was an A chord. I hit the power chord, and it come blasting through for me. I didn't know they could hear it. And all of a sudden, Robbie stopped. That's it. That's the most disgrace you could do, disrespect, and blah, blah, blah. And Johnny's like, Robbie, I don't think Ron knew that you could hear that. And I think that's what started the whole thing. And I, honest to God, didn't know they could hear it. I mean, I'd only had that thing. I'm pretty sure it was less than a week. And it was all, I didn't know anything about it. I was just trying to figure it out at that point myself. Okay, so what we did, look here, see how they're raised in that arch to compensate the bend in the neck. Got to work on it. Oh yeah, Greasy. Yeah, I mean, he was weird. I hate to say it. I kept, and I took. He gave shots to me every show I was on with him. It was shot after shot after shot because he did not like. Well, he didn't believe in the beginning. I was like, well, I've been working on guitars for close to 40 years at that time. 30, 38 years, 39. I'm over 2 years with Johnny, coming on 3, or whatever, however you want to read that. But it's closer to 3, and Robbie apparently, because I don't know how long he'd been on Johnny's show before I started watching. He may have been there for months. I have no idea, but apparently Robbie liked to be the guitar guru. And then, I told him, and I was like, well, I've been doing this, and and at that time, I just redid the other side of the basement to that cabin look, wood walls and everything. And so I didn't have this set up. This was still at that time my gun shop. And so I just had a little area set up over there. Have a shim. So I started showing that, and Robbie made some snide comments about it, and then he just kept throwing digs at me every show. Oh, you blah blah blah, this, you think this, blah, blah. And I never retaliated. I just sat there and took it all until one day I don't even remember what he said now. It's been so long ago, but I instantly got pissed, and I didn't want to yell or anything like that, because I was still fairly new on Johnny's show, and I'm like, and I didn't know how long he had been on there, how long Robbie had been on there. I didn't know how good of friends they were, if they were friends. I didn't know any of that stuff. So I just kind of kept my mouth shut, and then at some point, it was like, all right, I can't take it no more. So I started throwing some digs back at him. Oh my God, you thought I'd hit him with a brick. He did not like, he could dish it out, but he did not like having it thrown back at him. And then I even backed off a little bit. I was like, all right, and then he got worse. So, I mean, I never, went completely after him like he did me a few times, but it was enough to where he got pissed off, and then he left that night. But he didn't tell us he was leaving. He just said he's got to go. He goes, I can't do this tonight. I got to go. And he left. But he never came back. And then a week or two after that, 40 Grit, because 40 Grit, who worked for Sir Guitars. Well, let me get into this before I go that far. Some of the things Robbie was saying when he was telling people what to do to their guitars. If you work on guitars, or no, I don't mean just slightly work. I mean actually dig into them and work on them. Some of the stuff he was saying didn't make sense whatsoever. And I kept, and I have I did not shield in here. All right, so we're going to shield in here. So I have an engineering background. And when I start seeing things or hearing things, what I do as Steve, my brother from another mother, I visualize it in my head, okay, like a jigsaw puzzle or a 3D exploded view. I vision it in my head, and he's talking. I'm going through my head what he's and how it should be, and half the stuff didn't make sense. I'm like, what the hell? And I never said anything. Then when I finally started questioning about that, that was the final straw. He didn't like it after that. I'm like, you're telling these people this, and then nobody knows if this was right or this was true or if he did this or whatever. And, I don't want to get into all that because I don't know. I wasn't there, so I don't know what was true and what wasn't true. But I do know a lot of the things he was saying just did not make sense whatsoever. And finally, I just couldn't take it no more. I was like, wait a minute, you're saying to do this, but if you do this, this is going to happen. And then he just blew up at me. And what happens when you got somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, okay, and you and they tell you what's going on, and they know that that's right, even though apparently they don't know. When you question them and they don't know how to answer, what do? They get mad and start yelling and screaming and all that stuff because you're, in their eyes, you're making them look bad. No, I'm not the one that sat here and was telling people how to do stuff wrong. If I don't know it, I'll tell you I don't know it. I'll find it out. We'll find it out together if we have to. I can change this glove. But we'll find it out. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, no, you got to do this when I'm not sure myself. I would never do that. I'm not that way. I never have been. And those of you who are new don't know, but I've been a gun instructor for years. Pistol, shotgun. I've went down and did courses with 101st Airborne, running them through paces and stuff like that. So and that's just, I look at stuff like, hey, I'm not gonna tell you any bullcrap. I'm just not gonna do that. So, but when people do that and don't know, then they just start, they try to turn it back on you. How dare you ask me? They just try, and when he started doing that, I knew right then and there that I'm not saying everything he said didn't work. Again, I really don't know what his history is, and what history that some of you guys know who were around before I was. I'm sure you got questions. Looking for a certain thing to smooth that out, and I can't. Yeah, let's see. Greasy. You talked about his carpet. Yeah, I was there on that show. He gave us a tour of his house. My God, it looked like someone died. It got shot and bled out on his living room rug. He had, actually, more than anything, this is honest to God's truth, I feel sorry for him. I think the guy's really lonely. Again, I don't know what he did or what he didn't do in real life as far as all this guitar stuff goes. I know I've had a bunch of people say he's lying. I've had people say, no, he was there. Then I've had people say, no, I know people who were there when he says he was there and he wasn't. So I'm not saying it's true or false because I don't know. I wasn't there. But I just know that some of the information he was giving was blatantly wrong. And then when I asked him about it, he just threw a fit. Instead of saying, wait a minute, why do you think that? Or trying to convince me why he was right or why it was right. He just got mad and wouldn't say anything. So, I don't know. And to me, every time that's always happened, that's because when you question them, how dare you question them, and they don't want to look like they don't know anything. And so they throw a fit. Plus, MPN brought it up just now too. I've repaired 2 guitars now he's worked on, and both of them were unplayable. And in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, somebody who supposedly had the skill set that he claimed to have should have never, and I mean never, let those guitars go out like they were. And I know MPN, that was the first one. The first one I got a hold of. But I have now fixed 2 guitars that he supposedly, knew what he was doing, and he didn't. There's no way in hell he did. I should have trimmed that first, but just want to get some of this. Not going down that far, I have to worry about all that. But yeah, it was a crime on MPN's guitar, man. How long did you're in here, right, MPN? How long did he have your guitar? Greasy. Oh, he had an engine block in his bedroom, the kitchen. So he had it for 6 months or more, and when MPN got it, it was completely unplayable. I mean, literally unplayable. And I don't know, you don't have to say what he charged you, but he should have paid you for that, because that was just wrong. Having it that long and then send it back to the guy completely, and I do mean completely. The bridge was over an inch off the body. You put your pinkies under the strings without touching them, and the pins cut wrong. The post holes were cut wrong, in the wrong location. And then they were ones he used looked like they'd been in a creek for about a year. They were all rusted, and the one you couldn't even turn to adjust it. So instead of getting other one so it could be right, he just left it and made the other one match it that high up in the air. Now that's, come on. It's crazy how he did that. And that, the first thing, when I got the guitar, when MPN sent it to me, the first thing I did when I called him was, there's no way, this guy has no idea what he's doing. No idea. There's no way this should have looked, this should have went out. I mean, it was terrible. Completely freaking wrong. Everything. There was the only thing that was right was this, the nut. And after seeing what he did to the rest of the guitar, I don't think he did that. I think he had someone else do it for him. There's no way you could do that as nice as it was and then screw up everything else. Unless you did it on purpose. I wouldn't think he would want to do it on purpose. Who knows? But I just know it was terrible. It was unplayable. Completely unplayable. I mean, it's right there at MPN can answer your question right there. And apparently, he complained the whole time he was working on it. And how I knew he was working on one is because I have a friend here that had the same exact guitar, same color, everything. And he asked me, he said, hey, can you put a Floyd Rose on my blue Beretta Special. And I said, yeah, I can do it. So it was before a show one night, and I told Robbie, I said, hey, I'm getting ready. A buddy of mine's bringing down his Beretta Special. He wants me to put a Floyd on it. And that's when I heard about MPN's guitar. All I heard was, you can't put a Floyd on a Beretta Special. They're not made for it. They suck. They're terrible. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? He just like, no, you can't. That's a piece of shit guitar. He was just going off. I'm thinking, man, this is a Kramer, man. Bad mouthing Kramer guitars. And then when I saw MPN's guitar, I was like, damn. You actually did this to this guitar, then charged the guy for it? And I didn't know MPN at all, other from just in the chat. And I felt so bad because he got taken like he did. I just said, dude, send it to me. I'll fix it for you. And I didn't charge him anything. That's how bad I felt. I was like, this is unbelievable. I don't charge for very many. I usually charge for paint jobs, but when it comes to repair, the only time I have to charge for repairs is when I don't have the parts and I have to go buy them. Then I charge for repairs, because usually I'm trying to fix guitars. I'd say 95% of the ones I fix are for people who can't afford it. That's the whole reason why I'm doing it. And so with donated parts from you guys, it keeps that going. But when I run low on those parts, which again, that makes me mad. Peggy was in the chat that one day. That one guy told me he had, what, 50 pounds of a 50-pound box full of parts for me. Pickups, everything, Seymour Duncan pickups, you name it, all kind of stuff. He was going to send it to me. He got my address and gave me his address and all kind of stuff. Was in the chat on Johnny's show telling everybody what he was going to send. Never got it. I even sent him a text that one night. I said, dude, I'll pay the shipping if it's 50-pound box. Whatever, it's worth it for the parts. I can keep this thing going. And no reply. I've never heard from him. Last I heard from him was March of this year. And he was supposed to send it by the end of March. He didn't answer anymore, nothing. Just ignored me. I think he just wanted to talk big in the show on the chat. Peggy was there and heard all that, if you remember correctly. Yep. So I am running low on parts now for people. I'm grateful for everything you guys have sent. The Greasy, your Chipson went to a guy. Very Rich, I don't know if he's here. I am, doing this. I haven't been paying attention to the chat. But Rich had sent that Epiphone, Korean Epiphone that was only made for 1.5 years. So that went to a guy. Greasy, yours went to a guy. So someone else was the Tease Telecaster went to a guy. There was another one. There was like four or five guitars that had been sent to me to fix up and give to people, and they're gone. I still have this one, the other Strat, and the green Jackson from Rich. So I think I still have 3 guitars out of 8 that were sent. So I do get rid of them. They do go to people. But if you guys have any more parts floating around, or you found another drawer of parts, want to continue to donate, please do. Michael's donated a bunch of stuff. Michael B, thank you for that. Greasy, MPN donated the guitar that I fixed up because Robbie screwed it up. So, they get repaired. Like, this guitar will end up with somebody. I want it to be right. I don't want to just take a guitar that needs repaired and just give it to them and say, hey, here you go. Just take this. Live with it. Yeah, it's not a $2,500 guitar, blah blah blah. I'm not going to do that. It's got to be playable. To learn how to play it and want to continue to learn. That's the big thing right there. If you want to continue to learn, then the guitar's got to play right. Because if you sit down and it never stays in tune, or the action's too high, or the electronics work or don't work, you're going to get frustrated and give up learning. So the guitar's got to play right and sound good in order to keep your interest. And that's what I do. With all the stuff you guys send me, I either fix guitars that they already had and they can't afford to get it fixed with those parts, or the ones of you that have sent in guitars get fixed and those guitars get given away. And I've been doing this for years. And again, before I had to medically retire, I didn't ask for parts because, I was able to order them. I just ordered a bunch of stuff about 4 times a month or 4 times a year, 3 to 4 times a year, depending on how many I was working. And I covered the cost myself. And I'd usually go to pawn shops and look at their $100 guitars and buy them, fix them up. And those were the ones I get. But since I had to retire and I lost about 70% of what I was making, sadly, I can't afford to do that anymore. So I can donate the time and the know-how and the knowledge, but I can't buy the parts. So that's when I start asking, if you guys want to donate the parts, because it keeps it going. And that's what I want more than anything. I want to keep this going. Because music, once they learn it, it's something that no one can take away from you. You know it, you can play it, it's with you for life. And like I was telling Johnny one, I was kind of half-heartedly joking, but then after I said it, I thought, you know what, maybe I really think that. I sat there and I said, hey, you know what? Who knows? Maybe one of these guitars that I fixed and give to somebody, or someone from the show donated me to fix and give to somebody, might be the next Randy Rhoads or next Eddie Van Halen. 20 years from now when they're famous, I say, you know what? My parents couldn't afford this or that, and this guy who had no idea who I was found out I couldn't get anything, and he gave me a guitar that worked, and that's why I'm here. That might happen. Who knows? Might not, but it's just a little thought that I like. Main thing is just to keep the music going, because here's something I've always said: when words fail, music moves. And all the operation stuff I had, and I can't play like I used to. I know how that irritates me. I couldn't imagine how Jason Becker feels. The success he had and everything the way he had it going, and now can't do anything at all. I'm just like a grain of sand on a beach, going through what understanding what little bit he's going through, or I understand of what he's going. and he's still able to write music now. That's great. That's freaking awesome. Same way with Randy Travis. Through AI, Randy Travis is now releasing songs again. I'm a big fan of Randy Travis. Always loved his stuff. You guys would be surprised if you actually saw my playlist that I used all the time. Very, very, very eclectic. You'll be on. I'll be playing it in the car, having whoever, a friend of mine with me or something, and we'll be listening to Wasp. And you'll be like, all right, cranking out the Wasp. Then the very next thing comes on is Yo-Yo Ma. Like, what the hell? Or Sinatra or Dean Martin tune. Then it might play a couple like that, and then it'd go back to like Halloween or something like that. And he's like, what the hell you got on there? I said, man, I listened to a bunch of different stuff. See, and that was one comment I corrected Johnny on Saturday too, where I was talking about I never had to join another band and conform to, oh, you can't play that style guitar, or no Floyd Rose, or you have to dress like this. I never had to do that because my own band made it and got signed. So we just got signed and was just there. We were right on the edge. Then Nirvana happened and the record company just walked away from us and everybody else. But Johnny had made the comment. He was talking about how he had to do that. And then he made the comment that I don't agree with that. And I stopped. I said, wait a minute. I never said I don't agree with it. I never had to do it. I would have had I taken the job offer for Nazareth. But like Cole said, it was almost 6 years total that I was gone. Right after he was, we played a show the night he was born. Well, he was born at 10:31 a.m. and me and the other guitar player were at the hospital. I was in with Beth. She had to have a C-section because Cole was 10.5 pounds. And we were there for that. And then about 4 or 5 o'clock, we had to leave because we had a show that night in Pennsylvania. And she had only been 19 for 10 days. So I was not there a lot, and it was because of the band and music. And then, when the Nazareth thing came along, they were playing out more than we were, and they wanted me to be guitarist for Nazareth. I actually got the offer because they had heard our music, saw some videos, and then our management, which was X2000 Productions, I got the call and said, hey, Nazareth wants you to take up their guitar. I guess the guitar player they had at the time was, I don't remember if he was just leaving or he was sick. Something happened. He was leaving. And they needed some, and I don't know how they got me, but apparently they heard us and saw a video and they got a hold of them. And so I got the call and I said, well, I'd have to try. He said, no, you don't have to try out. They've seen you and heard you. He said, if you got it, you want it, you got it. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, wait a minute. Then I'll be leaving the band I started with my own music, the style I want, to play someone else's stuff. Like I said before, there was only, I think, 2 guys from the original member still in the band at that time. I'm like, wait a minute. This isn't even the original members now, and blah, blah, blah. And then I found out they played more than we did. And, that's bad enough. I was going all over now. And here she was, 19 years old with a newborn baby. And I wouldn't be here even more. So I turned it down. I couldn't leave her. I felt bad for what I meant because, and for those of you who are not parents, you'll never understand. But you don't get that time back. I was the first steps, the birthdays, the milestones. If you're not here for it, yeah, I mean they may have it on a grain. Well, back then it'd be a grainy video cassette recording of it, but you're not there for it, and you missed it, and you can't get it back. And that's something I realized. And they were like, well, no, I don't want to do that. I mean, like Johnny said the other day, would have opened up other opportunities for me. Oh, I'm sure it would have. Which may have led to more time away. Then the next thing you know, I'd be divorced. One of those guys playing on stage and had 4 wives. And I didn't want to do that. And we've been together 40 years now. Married 38. It'll be 39 next October. So I didn't go. I didn't do it. In my mind, I made the right decision. As far as career-wise, no. But my wife and Cole were more important to me. I thought, stay where we are, play like we do. I mean, we played pretty much every weekend, but after he was born, our management team was generous enough to keep us at least a day or day and a half drive close to home. So it was rough, and I often wondered, did I do the right thing? But then when I sold my prized 87 ESP M1 Custom so we could give Cole, Christmas, I would love to have that guitar back. I would give anything to have that guitar back, or one just like it. But the cheapest I found one for now is $3,000. So I'll never have one. And I know someone will say, "Oh, you got so many guitars now, sell some and get one." And truth be told, I don't have as many as I used to. With my situation my dad was in until he died, to help, I sold some of them the last few years. So I would be able which is another reason why I work with donated parts, because I just can't afford to get fixed. I just do not want that. Gift of music is a gift you have for the rest of your life. Next bestseller, you might be the next Taylor Swift, next Eddie Van Halen, whatever. And to think that I could be a part, or even you guys, if I'm using your parts or guitars you donated, be a part of that, got to mean something. Because I'm also a firm believer in the be ashamed to die and not win some sort of battle for humanity. Now, I know this isn't marching off to fighting for freedom, but who knows what fixing guitar for somebody, whether it be a disabled vet, child with the autism really bad or something, who knows? That's where Rich's Les Paul went. Kid he's 18. He's 18 now, and he's nonverbal. His dad had to retire and take care of him. Like he's got to bathe him. He's got to take him to the bathroom and wipe him when he's done. But the kid loves guitars, and his favorite color is like a orangish, tannish colors. And he had been playing on toy guitars, and what it was doing. Now, will he ever be able to actually play? I doubt it. But strumming them and making the noise and everything was keeping him extremely calm. He wasn't having and not violent outbursts, but just the outburst in general. And his dad got a hold of him. He's actually younger than me and had to retire basically, so he could take care of this boy, his son. And I said, yeah. So I took over the Green Jackson, Rich's Epiphone, the Hollow Flash Tease, and I figured he'd go for the Hollow Flash, but he went for that yellow orangish color, and he just sat there strumming it, and his whole demeanor just changed right there. Matter of fact, I got a text from his dad today. Want to know when I'm going to be home this week because they want to drop something off for me. You don't have to. So just being able to help out like that makes a big difference, and makes you feel good. Man. Like I said, I'm not doing this for money. I never did. Paint jobs, yeah, and it's not like I can make a living off of it. But it's a little extra, which helps now that I was forced to retire medically. I tried to go back. Doctors would not let me go. They would not release me. Like, are you kidding me? Then it took me quite a few years to get Social Security. And they owed me back pay to the tune of a little over $100,000. And the last time I went to court, I had to hire, I don't know if anybody ever remembers the commercials, but it was Bender and Bender, America's #1 attorneys for disability. They were nationwide. And their attorney comes down here. I dealt with him for probably a year, sending him papers and all this stuff, and letters from the doctors and everything. And so they finally come time for that trial. That was the fourth trial, actually, a fourth hearing. They were the second or the third set of attorneys. And get in there, and the judge hears the case, everything, and the attorney's doing all his talking. And the judge reads everything again, and he goes, I'll tell you what. He goes, I'll approve this right now. Right now. If you give up the back pay. He said, if you don't want to give up the back pay, I'm not approving it, and it could take another 4 or 5 years. And the attorney looked at me, and I was like, So he goes, yeah, he said, Your Honor, could we, have like a 10-minute recess? So my wife was there. She was out. She wasn't allowed in the courtroom. She was outside. And so we go out and talk to her. And it was, by this time, she wasn't making that much. That was the only money we had. And so I was kind of like stuck in a spot. I didn't have a choice. We had to take it. So I signed away, I think it was like $112,000. It should have been mine, tax-free. But the attorney did get him to go back 1.5 years or something like that. So I got a little bit, but nothing, nothing like I was supposed to get. All right, so this is done, shielded. Got all the switches working, jacks in here, all the pickups work. This is now set up right. I'll tell you right now, that's going to have to. Here. So yeah, I kind of got screwed out of $112,000. You know, and like the attorney said, he's like, it's not like it's coming out of that judge's pocket. He would not approve it unless I said signed a paper. And before I did that, the attorney's like, well, let me. And he went and talked to the judge and got me 1.5 years worth. And then here's the other kicker. When I finally, the amount I was supposed to get a month, I don't get it. I'm $400 some short of what I was supposed to get a month. So I don't even get that much. So that's why this whole long story that's way too long now, is why I ask for donations for parts, so I can keep this going and keep the music alive. Let's see, Steve, I'm sorry I haven't been following the chat. Steve, would be better to retrofit a locking trim on an existing, trying to use Ivan and I don't this Okay, everybody. We should be back. I'm thinking we're back. I'm hoping we're back. All right, sorry about that. Firefox. I got off Chrome because Chrome crashed on me on Johnny's, so I switched to Firefox. Now Firefox just crashed. What I was saying, answering Steve's question, is MPN. I was working on MPN's gem, and we were thinking about a Floyd, and he was saying that it wasn't supposed to fit or something like that. And we did the measurements, and MPN. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did we figure out that it would work as far as fitting in the on the post? He'd be the one to talk, to ask about that. Sorry about that. I didn't. Thank you, Greasy. Why won't those come out? But yeah, as far as that, I thought we figured out that the Floyd would fit. Just like there was, it would just fit. So I don't know. I mean, can it be adapted to fit a Floyd if need be? Well, yeah. Do you want it? The question is, do you want to go through that trouble? So I'm not sure. Yeah, and MPN's got the actual gem, not the Gem Junior. I think we came out because the measurements on a Floyd are 74.3 center to center of the post, and I think we figured out it would fit. Let me think. Yeah, it would fit. It would just make it. Then I remember saying that the Goto 1996 tremolo would really fit and give you room, because instead of having the two horseshoes cut out, it's got one horseshoe for high side. Then on the base side, it's a level, like a level edge, which gets you have a little bit of room there to mess with. So if you want Floyd, depending on, again, like he said, what model you have, we know it'll fit a gem, a 2003 gem. Just barely make it. But the 1996 Goto will work with ease. And really, there's nothing wrong with that tremolo. Goto 1996. I have one on my ESP, on my George Lynch ESP, the Bengal Tiger one, because I wanted gold and I didn't feel like spending $400 for tremolo Floyd. So yeah, that if I would drag, watch this thing gonna hear that. Listen. I gotta do this. So I got the gold Goto for like 165 or something like that, brand new. And I've tuned it when I put it on over a year ago, and I just played it. Matter of fact, Saturday afternoon I played it a little bit. It was still in tune. Plus, with those, there is one thing that's an improvement I wish Floyd would have done, but obviously they can't do because of the patent. It's the stud. All right, you see, here's a Floyd mounting stud. All right. There it is. Okay, the Goto one is a little bit fatter than this, but the catcher, the game changer for me, is once you drill the hole in the body, put this in, it's hollow like this one is, okay? But you see here, the actual stud itself is solid on a Floyd. The Goto there's a little chamber in it with a spike comes out of the bottom. So you have this 3mm head here. Then inside is a 1.5mm, I think. So you set it where you want it, get your action, everything set. Then you go in with the littler Phillips or the Allen wrench. You tighten that spike down, and it drives the spike in, so this thing does not move. Period. Where the Floyds kind of move just a hair, Gotos are just rock solid. You drive that spike down in it. I wish Floyd would have that. So you can't buy. Well, I get you. You can sometimes, but you can't just call up Goto and say, "Hey, I just need your studs." They won't buy the whole. They come with it. Plus, another thing is you get the a big brass block already in the Goto. So, and I mean that's one thing. That's like a cool brass block, and it's a fat brass block too. But they even improved that. So where the spring goes in, I'll show you. Let's see. And this one's not brass, but so you'll get a big brass block on that tremolo already. Then where the spring goes in right here, there is a screw here, here, and here. So you put your tremolo or your spring in like that. On before a problem Floyd used to have, actually all of them, any floating. Sometimes if you could pull it back so far, that would pop out. That's why you can't pull them back all the way anymore like you used to be when they first started with. But you put those in and then you tighten that screw down and it locks them in place, so you don't have to worry about that. That already comes with that tremolo, and it's nice hardened steel all through. It's $160. Said I have on that. I only own the one. It's on that guitar. And the only reason I got, I mean, everybody said, get one, you'll like it, you'll like it. I wasn't sure if I would or not. So, I'm like, well, I want to put gold on here, gold hardware everywhere, everything gold. And when I started seeing the print, it was like $400 for the Floyd. I was like, well, I'll try that. And I was very impressed. So that's one thing to consider. Plus, on the show you. So the Floyd you have, there's 74.3 millimeters, center here to center to here. So on MPM's 2003 actual gem, this did fit barely, but it did fit and function. But on a Godo, this is gone. It's flat all the way across like that. So that gives you that much extra room. Needs to be to work. So I would say if you want to go with something else, you don't want to spend 280, 300 plus on the Floyd, go for 160 and get the Godo, which we know there is enough room that it will work. The locking nut, well, I don't have. Jackson. Yeah, I don't have Ibanez neck. Like this one. Okay. See how far down the truss rod is? Down from there. We have all that space. Now, when I did that BC Rich for Laz, I couldn't route down the neck right here to make that space because the truss rod nut was like right there. It was right almost at the top. So the only thing I could do was knock, because it had the regular nut like this thick. So where it was there back, I just chiseled flat. And then what I had to do is on the printer, I had to print spacer that took up that angle. So it was, made like that. It was flat on top, but it had the angle where it went down into here. And then I screwed and glued it to the board and went through it with the nut top of it. So there's always something, and there's always a way to do it. Let's put it that way. So, look at it this way. It's wood. It can be moved. It can be repaired. Headstocks break off and they get fixed. That's how, when I started working with that luthier, he's like, "You want a route for this?" And he started laughing. I'm like, "Sure." Because, all through school I did routing and all that, that didn't bother me. He's like, "Oh, that was most people's hang up. They didn't want to route the body." I'm like, "It's wood. It can be fixed. You can glue in new pieces or do a biscuit joint or a dowel rod if you have to. Just wood and paint." He liked that. He's like, "You're the first person. Most of them I got to coax them into routing." I mean, even if you do mess it up, you can always, if you have the room on the neck, like this one does, and you route it too far, you can always shim it up. That's not an issue. But when you can't go down because of the nut here, then you are limited. You got to. So, like I said, I took. Well, I have a nut neck here. So, I mean, this is a little bit different. That one. because there's a space, there's enough room here to route it. But what I did is from here forward, I chiseled it down to the low as I could go without exposing the nut, the adjustment nut. And then that's when I made figured out the angle and made the block go in place. Make that level. So it ended up sticking out about that, far enough. And it was level, but that gap, you see that angle? I made a wedge. So it was one piece. The wedge, it fit up in there and it was flat, which gave me enough room to put that on it. So you can always do that if need be. Matter of fact, see. Yeah, these are all 3D printed stuff I made here. But here's the wedge. I made 2 different ones. Well, actually 3 till I got the right one. You see, I had mentioned there, take up that gap and still be flat on top. Which gave me still, I never took anything off the actual fretboard from where it should be. I just took it from there back. And then installed that, took up the angle, made it flat, then put the nut through this. So thank God I had the 3D printer, or I'd had to come up with something else. I made string trees. I can do anything. Pickup covers, battery holders here. I make for string trees. Here's what's funny. They're usually the same tree, and you have a metal spacer to get you your height difference. I can make them any height they need to be. I've made shims. Yeah, there's all kind of stuff, and this is just some of it. Here's a jig for drilling holes for tuners. I even made shims for Floyd nuts, different thicknesses. To thicker. Now I don't have to buy these anymore. So, any other questions? Or, I'm sorry if I was talking too much and missed other questions you guys asked. Please ask again. Now I can pay a little bit more attention to the chat. Laz, hey, what's happening? So yeah, Steve, but it can be, like I said, it can be fixed. You can make it work. I did it for Laz's brother's guitar. Because I never even looked at that. I just assumed that I could route that out. I had the rest of the guitar done, routed the body out, had the Floyd mounted like I have it in that one right now, and I put the neck up there to look at it and make sure. And I looked at that and I went like this, like, oh no. I mean, there's literally there was no. Okay, here we go again. That time, my browser didn't kick it out. Stupid antivirus decided to run. So it shut it down to do a virus check. So I shut that off. And I even made a note. Next time I do a show, make sure the antivirus doesn't run a check. So if you're going to hack me for whatever reason, that'd be the time to do it during one of these shows. But like I was saying, it's just wood and paint. It can be fixed. You guys like the new camera angle? You're more or less right on top now. Dang it. This is weird. Left-handed throws me off, although I write left-handed. Because I'm doing this way. It's harder to do it this way. So I'm pretty well. I'm ambidextrous actually. When I was a kid, when I do my homework, I'd write with the left hand and switch to the right hand. They accused me of getting people to do my homework, so they made me pick, and I just picked left hand to write, but I throw football, everything else, or left hand to write with, and eat with the left hand. Everything else, throw football, baseball, it's all right hand. But if I'm on a grease board or a chalkboard, I can write both hands at the same time. Old XP, my God, yeah. Much better. Much better. Oh, that hurt. Rounding those corners off, and once I get this done, break out my version of the Fretzler. Much better. yeah, so, getting back to all that other stuff, you can do that, Steve, without an issue. And again, I know the Goto 1996T gives you plenty of room, and a Floyd will just fit. So if that helps you any that way. That's something to think about. Unless you just want to buy a whole nother guitar. And you can just buy the whole other guitar. You never have too many. Unless you run out of room. Yeah. Much nicer. Oh, all right. I used that much. Now I turn it. Bam. There's a new section. Now the next ones I make of this, though, they're going to be probably almost an inch longer, so you don't have to cut the paper. Just go right in. Which doesn't matter because this is also longer than the fretboard, so. See right here, works fine. And it is a lot better than holding the paper with your fingers, and then after you get that piece, you got to shove this end up, the other side down. This makes it a lot nicer. Yeah, plus, I used to go through these like crazy because I had to use the Dremel tool and these and all kind of polishes. Then you get the polish all over you, all over the tools on the bench. You had to use these or the whole strip one. Now you don't need any of that. Usually I'd have to get this many of these about every 2 months. I have to reorder that about every 2 months to get those. Now, those have been in there for quite some time. And here's another thing, if your frets aren't that bad, like there's no dents or worn spots in them, they're just dirty, then you can use, I think this is 5,000. Use 5,000, 3,000, 5,000 paper and go up from there. It's just when they have notches in them and all that stuff, if you level and crown them, then you start out with 400 and go to 800, 1,200. If you want to be really specific about it, you can go 400, 600, 800, 1,000, 12, 15, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 7, 8, and 10. But if I do the 400, it's 400, 800, 1,200, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, and then 7 and 8 or 7, 10,000. So one thing I'm going to start doing is like if you get a kit, if you guys win a kit, I'm going to do one a month, which we already did, and he got it, by the way. He sent me a text, let me know he got it. If you say, well, all my guitars have wide or extra wide, jumbos, whatever. And then if you win, then I'll just send you like 4 of the same one, so you can put different papers on each one instead of taking the paper out and changing it over and doing, just you had four. You only need the wide, and you get four of the wide, then you can have whatever 400,000, 3,000, and 7 or whatever you want to do it. This just made it so much easier and cleaner. And then again, you can see how it's all wore there. Just turn the knob, bam, right there. So again, from now on, the ones I make are going to be longer, so you don't have to cut. Actually, I'll show you exactly how long, how wide, well, tall they'll be. Here's the size paper that I get when you order it. It's 10,000 grit right there. See the difference? So I end up wasting that much paper off each one, so I'm just going to make them that wide. And you're not wasting the paper because you're going to have a longer space to travel, meaning you can do more frets. You have to turn the knob another newer piece. And what I like about them is, I have the narrow, medium, wide, extra. The jumbo is very popular on a lot of guitars now. But I mean, again, no polish, no Dremel tool, buzzing in the background, driving Janice crazy through her earbuds. So the different grades of polish, I don't need to buy anymore. That easy. Oh, I know I showed you guys. There's a finished one. That'll be, and then run behind everything cables. You just plug into it, and they're all going to be different colors to let me know which amp it is. And then when all the amps are on, just take the jack, plug in each one of them at the desk right there. And everything will be working. I've already told you that part. I know I was. But if anybody wants to do that, instead of selling these, like if whatever color you want, $13, buy a filament for me and I'll make them as many as you want. I have a whole section of guitar parts, guitar tools that I've just saved and modified. I mean, it's amazing what that thing can do. I remember when I went back. That was what, 2000. I went back to Wright State University for the engineering, and they had a 3D printer in there in the CAD class, and it, of course, I don't know how long they'd been out or if they just came out. That was the first time I ever saw one or heard of one, and that thing was the size of a refrigerator, slow as can be, and it was just a one color print, but it was the coolest thing. It was in the CAD room. There was a guy making he did a CAD layout of metal walls, so he was printing that out. Yeah, Peggy, I mean, that's what I said. Well, right here. Stu Mac wants $100 and some just for that piece. I already have dials. I got them all from, all machining and everything. So I made that. And it tells you, it knows the price of the filament. So it tells you how much the part cost when you make it. This cost me like 28 cents to make. And it's a string gauge. I already had the knob, the meter. I've made so much stuff. It's just crazy. And like those shims for the nut on Laz's brother's guitar. I don't even know if you can buy those. I never looked for them before, nothing. I was just trying to figure out how to mount that. And I thought, man, why can't I just do that on that? It worked perfect. And again, the machine I got now, because I sent the first one back because it was just one color. Which, if you want to do, it's almost impossible to do multicolors on a one color machine. You'll never get it to blend in right. Because I did it just seeing if I could do it. Matter of fact, what you have to do is run your one color as far as you want, stop it, pull the remaining filament out of that section of the tube, then put what color you want in it, but you only get a straight line. It'll start the new color right where it ended, so it's just a straight line across. With this one, it now holds 4 different colors, and I can take, like if I wanted, this is a light gray, so I wanted red. So if I put red on it before, or say I wanted black right here. So I put black on, it'd be a straight line like this when it switched to the black, when I switch it to the black. But say I wanted to have it run up like this. You couldn't do it on a one color machine. So now it'll do it, and it'll do wherever you put the color is where it will go. It automatically switches in between too. It takes longer to print something that way, but it's neat. Because what it'll do, perfect example right here. So it'll do all the gray, it'll do gray to here, then it has to stop, go over, drop the gray off, feed the black in, come over and do that little bit, then get rid of the black, go back to the gray to finish it. So it'll do that. So as it gets bigger, it stays in that second color more. But I did some stuff for my daughter for her Dual Gallery sale, where I did the vampire teeth, bottom jaw of a vampire, and it's a cell phone holder. And I printed them before in an off-white, and then so now I was able to print them and then had blood drops running down them. She sold out of them. People want them like crazy. And I did a ghost face from Scream movies. I did a light switch of him. So it's the bottom half is a light switch and the top half is him. Top half the switch, the cover itself. And then I had a silver knife blade, white face, the black cape. Then I put red like blood running down the blade. Those went like crazy. Which means she must have to go outside. Yeah. Yeah, same thing. I just did mine in purple. But again, if you have all your guitars just have 1 or 2 size frets, and you want a kit, like my Mr. Mick will tell you, he asked about a kit, and that's what I did for him. I said, just buy the filament of what color you want, have it shipped to me. and I'll make your whole kit for you out of it. That's what it cost him $13. So if you guys want that, that's what I'll do. Send a kit to Laz. But again, if you only have one size fret on your guitars, two sizes, let me know and I'll just make two or three of each size, so you can put the different grade sandpaper on each one. Then you don't have to change it every time you do this. I got a blue one in here, red one. This is 10,000. Stuff. No, I'm sorry. This is 8. Last one I just did was 5. I'm just taking a bunch off, shine it up. She must have come down. She got a water bowl upstairs and one down here. That means the water bowl upstairs is now empty for her to come down here. Usually when she comes down the steps, it means she's got to go outside. Tell you what, it's the less mess and the ease of use far outweighs the little bit of time it takes to put the sandpaper in and out of it. You don't have to mask off the fretboard. You don't have to use the guards, the metal guards. None of that stuff. It's right here, and they're curved. They're made to fit the frets, so they're not destroying the wood. Yeah, that quick, that simple. Mr. Mick got the first set I ever made for anybody else last, and he came in that following show and he's like, wow, his frets never looked so shiny and smooth, and he never and he loved it. There was no mess, no taping anything, no nothing. It was all right there and worked. He couldn't believe it. Not a dent, actual. 2. Wow. It is. Looks like glue when they whoever put the frets in this. Yep, what it was. Laz uses this as too. Yes, Lewis, that's wet and dry sandpaper. Sorry, I wasn't following the chat right there. All right, lads. Good night. Good night, my brother. They are nice. Finish it up with this regular. Screw. Cracking, that's my knee. Both my knees too. Listen. I did this to the volume soldering iron. Same thing they did for dime. And how I got it so straight, I don't remember what I used. I had something that the soldering iron was on. I just laid it flat like this, then spun that around and stuck it in. And that's why it's all in line. You know, when you're working on this stuff, sometimes you got to think outside the box. You got to think outside the box on a lot of it. As much as I would love everything to be perfect, go right together, hardly ever happen. But that's where the training, you know, from years of doing it. And again, I'm not saying I'm the know-all, because I'm not. But I'll never sit here and tell you something that I don't know and tell you that I do know it. I'll actually say, hey, you know, I don't know, but let's try to figure it out together. That's the only way we can both learn. And like, again, that's why I'm here, to help you guys. This one. And I know I get on Johnny all the time about cleaning his bench. That's the only thing that really irritates me. Because look, when you have it like this, so much easier, so much quicker. Find what you need and get it done. I mean, every drawer. Like, you know what you have, you know where it's at, and it just cuts your time. Ah, that was me. it just cuts your time down, and you're not wasting time. That's the one thing Johnny does that really irritates me. It doesn't make me mad. My OCD kicks in. Cool, lads. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand that. I don't understand. Take a couple hours one day, like when you get up. I know he leaves on Mondays, but the rest of the week, I think you're there. So take a couple hours, empty it off, and go through it together. I mean, it only helps. Actually, should. Sets it. Should have kept a set and put them on here. These are the ones Tease has, and he even stopped using this particular. Not great. Tuner. Oh well. Yeah, if he would just take a few hours and clean that up and organize it some, then the shows wouldn't have to be 5 hours working on a guitar when most of the time you're looking for the parts and tools. I mean, I understand it. I get it. My dad was like that. That's why I'm not. That makes sense. I went through enough of that with him looking for everything. So I don't get cut again. But, and I mean, Jed, my buddy Jed's like that too. He's done with the tools. He opens a box up and just tosses them in there. And the next job, he's like, "Where'd that ratchet go?" Or that whatever's specialty tool he has. He knows he has it. He used it before. Now he can't find it. I get it. That just wasn't me because I did that with my dad. Spent more time looking for the tool I needed than once I had it and actually used it. I understand. I just I know, Laz. I just don't get it, man. Why would you want to make it harder to do the job? That's how I actually look at it. When your work area is a mess, you got parts everywhere and tools everywhere, and then when you look for something, you're like, oh, it was just here. Why do that when all you gotta do is just put the stuff away? I mean, I understand it's his show, his bench. I get it. No right or wrong. It's just easier if you have it organized. That's all. It's proven. By the way, I'm also an ISO 9000 certified auditor. Certified auditor, and I got certification in the just-in-time system, JIT, and the Kanban system, all that. I'm all certified and all that, all through Navistar. So that was right up my alley, efficiency and setup stuff, and have it set up so you had to make it right. And it just bugs me when people. Well, like I said, I get it. I know people do it, and we see it, but I just don't understand why. When you can fix it, then why not just fix it? Because I really think if he would adjust everything and get it set, and once he found out how easy that was, or how much quicker it would go, then it might give you an incentive or whatever to keep it that way. Like I said, I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm just going from efficiency. We used to, when I was teaching the efficiency part in the ISO stuff, we had a thing where we had a bunch of pins. Here, the pins that screw together with the little chrome sleeve in the middle, and the press cap comes out, and the bottom, the spring. So what we would do is have the class sit there, and we'd have all the parts just thrown into one or two bins, and tell them, okay, you have 5 minutes to put together 25 pins. And they're all throwing parts around, they couldn't do it. So then we separated everything and put it in order. Gave them a minute or 2 minutes less for the same amount, or maybe even 5 more, and they would get it. Like, it can't be explained any simpler than that. Because when I was at Navistar, every 3 months they would change what they called man assignment. There was 7,700 people working like the International Harvester truck, Navistar truck, semis, and every 3 months they would come up with, okay, we gotta do man assignments. We're going to add 2 more trucks a day, which doesn't sound like much. Because once the line got full, every 4 minutes, a completed semi that went from 2 frame rails at the very beginning to driving it off the assembly lines every 4 minutes once the line was full. And so they would say, well, we're going to go up 2 more trucks. The line never stopped, by the way. I mean, it moved continuously. It just moved like this, but it never stopped. So everybody had a certain area to put their parts on. And so they'd say, okay, well, in man assignment time, we're going to go up 2 trucks or maybe 3 trucks, whatever. But you're going to lose 8 people. So then you have to take those 8, you have to figure out which 8 people you want to lose, take all their work and divide it up in order, in line, the rest of the people. And then you're still going up 2 or 3 or however many trucks. And then by the time you got it all worked out, which usually took 2 months, 2.5 months, because obviously the union would throw a fit. You're doing this, doing that, blah blah blah, and they would do everything in their power to make it not work. So it usually take about 2.5 months for everything was smoothed out. And next thing you know, it was here come the 3 months, time to do man assignments again. It was just constant chaos. All to save a buck. You open up my paint gun cabinet, all the guns are in line, cleaned, organized. The nozzles for each gun, if I want to change the nozzle size, they're all right there with each gun, easy reach. Any of the tools needed to work on the guns is hanging right there with it. It's just so much easier that way. I got a gigantic toolbox outside full of all my automotive mechanic stuff, and I mean it's freaking big, and all the drawers are like this. Everything's clean, put back. And again, that all stems from my dad not being that way. My dad's toolbox looked like Johnny's bench. Not Johnny bench, Johnny's workbench. And we would rebuild old muscle cars. Like, I need this, and then I had to go find it. It sucked. I got tired of doing it. The only thing he kept organized, my dad, was his paint guns. He had a couple Binks guns from the 60s, early 60s, and he treated those things like gold. And I remember asking him, even when I was a kid, I said, why do you do that to all that? But when it comes to all the hand tools, they're just thrown in there. His comment would be, because these paint guns give you the finished product. Oh, no, not really. Preparation gives you the finished product. Talking about him like that. I got his obituary right there. He's always, this is one of his benches. It was in one of his garages. So he's always right here watching me work. Some of you that may sound odd, but that's. Let's see, Peggy, where do I cut the strings off at? Well, I run the ball end through the tuning keys, put down this way. And the first three, the E, the A, and the D, when it comes to the Floyd, I usually cut them off about right here. Just right at this or a little bit, because you don't want a lot of wraps on this heavier one. When I get to the E, B, and G, I'll cut it off back here, so I get the more wraps on the finer strings. The original reason I did that was because usually when I broke a string, it was one of these three, hardly ever these. So if I break a string and I usually broke here, I could just unwrap it once or twice, put it back in, and retune it. But I was told, and I never checked it, that you want more wraps on the finer string. And it makes sense if you think about it, because you got more contact and to give you more sustain on these three. So, I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense. I did it that way for years, not knowing it was actually helping the sound. Again, I did it because when I first started the band, we trying to get the newest stuff we needed, everything, and then all that. You just didn't have money for strings, sadly. You learn to boil your strings, and you learn to do it that way so you can run them clear down to the ball end if they break. Spot in here where I turn it like a second, which is why Torsen got rid of these tuners. And so it's been over 40 years me working on guitars, painting them. Floyd Roses. And again, I worked with the Luther off and on for 2 years. But I will admit, if I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know it. I'm not going to lie to you about it. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm only human. One on the tuner for the A string is terrible. I have 3 sets of tuners left, but they're all 3 and 3. I don't have 6 in line. The set I thought I sent Johnny 2 sets, and I ended up sending him 3. D tuner for the D strings, not much. These are locking too. Thank you, James. So yeah, I did the wraps like that with the ball end on the tuners, you know, right when I got the first Floyd. Then I found out, I did it out of necessity. And I found out that Steve Vai has his tech do all his guitars that way. I think MPN does it that way. So, you know, should be. I didn't know, back then all we had was the magazines to look at. We didn't have the internet like we do now. And I didn't do it because Steve Vai did it. Hell, I didn't even know he did it till in the 90s. Necessity. Okay, when you're tuning with a Floyd, for those of you who may not know, initially you can go, 1 through 6, just to kind of get it roughed in. But what happens, you do here and here and here, and by the time you get this one, these are out again. So I do it to get the general idea. Then once you're trying to do a regular, final tuning, put something under here to level where you need it to be, because you may have to adjust the springs. But here's the best part: once you go through all that hassle the first time, you use the same string, same gauge. You don't have to mess with it anymore. These are different strings, gauge. But you do. So like that's down a little bit. Then it come down here. So that one, hit the B. Up here the A. And go down to G. D. Alternate them. Okay, so we got that there. Now, hear the difference? Still needs to come. Yep. Come out some. I could take that middle spring out. I got it halfway set. Got it. You tell me I can't retain or not. Yeah, when Torsen sent me this, like, you're going to have to replace that Floyd, Ronnie. I know. He goes, you're going to have to replace the nut too. I said, the nut? He goes, yeah, that thing strips quicker than a stripper. $100 bills or something like that. That was one reason why they didn't. They had 100 of these made, he said. That's why they didn't end up releasing them, because the tremolo, it was an unbranded tremolo, and the nut bad, and the tuners. So take that off. Guys, I don't even know who here. I'm watching this on my iPad near my Gunner account, not Fretworks. So I'm just like you guys are watching this. I don't know who's here or what. It's the one that has. Crap. Let me see how far we are off this way. Yeah, it's nice with those fret cleaners now that you don't have to use this thing. I mean, it's all good stuff to have. Those fret files make it a lot different. Or those fret. Okay. Too much. That is perfectly flat there. Over the neck pickup. See that? So yeah, there's so many different ways to repair a guitar. Obviously, always better. Someone will have better ways. Sometimes faster, but remember, faster is not always better. That's why I'm never going to sit here and say, "Oh, I'm the best there is at this," because I'm not. You can always learn something from somebody, regardless who it is. And I learned a long time ago. You don't know something, don't be afraid to ask. Afraid to ask, then you got to ask yourself, "Damn it, why am I?" Might not like the answer you come up. I'm just a different type person. Like I said before, when I was little, my dad worked for International Harvester. After shift, had shops, so I hardly ever saw him unless I went to the body shop. Like back then. So I spent all my time with his dad, my grandfather. I always thought of things or looked at things differently than pretty much everybody else my age. That's why I keep saying, I'm a little bit different than you might think. I keep telling Johnny that too. You might not have. I've had people say, "Man, you're an old soul." No, I was just raised by the older generation, the greatest generation, matter of fact. Let's go back. I've told the story before. I used to cut wood all summer for the fireplaces for the winter. And with my grandfather, if you were 15 minutes early, in his eyes, you were still 30 minutes late. Figure that one out. I stopped one day at a Ace Hardware and bought a chainsaw, and I was late for where we were. The whole time I'm thinking, "Oh, chainsaw will catch up. Problem." So I pull up in my truck, Dad's truck. Grandfather was already there and had the wood started. Started splitting it, cutting it and splitting it. He just looked at me and said, "You're late." I said, "I know, but don't worry." And I put the tailgate down, pulled out this new, I think it was Homelight, new Homelight chainsaw, 18-inch. And he looked at me and I said, "Hey, we'll make up for it right here. I'll fire this up and get it going." He's like, "Can I see that?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I hand it to him. Hand it to him, and he pulls the crescent wrench out of his back pocket, takes the spark plug out. And I'm thinking to myself, it's brand new. Started up at the store to make sure everything was right. Then when I thought he was putting the spark plug back, he chucks it over the hill in the woods. Then hands me the chainsaw, and I must have had the dumbest look on my face ever. I said, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Put the chainsaw down." So I put it on the truck, and he handed me an axe. He said, "You're going to do a man's job. You're going to do it like a man." That's the kind of guy I was raised with. Hi, baby. You gonna go outside? Is that what you're telling me? He was not afraid to do anything. In his eyes, pretty close. In his eyes, the harder the job, the better. And he was always one that's saying, "Hey, work's work. It's not meant to be enjoyable. That's why it's called work." One. But when you get it done, you got it done right, to give you a good feeling that you won't get anywhere else. That's just how I was raised. And we're not buzzing. Nice low action. There we go. Action's nice and low. Neck's pretty much dead straight. You go outside. Excuse me for a few minutes, please. Let me let her out. Come on, go outside. Talk amongst yourselves. Don't Okay, everyone, sorry about that. So we got good action. Frets won't cut you now. The tuners need replaced, but it is a lock. Sucks. I knew as soon as I tightened, I'll throw that out. Tomorrow I'll have to readjust them because they're going to stretch. So, but they no longer buzz on the fretboard. That's nice and level. I have to stretch them. Now they'll be out, way out. So I'll let it sit overnight. And not anymore. I don't cut it now. Cut the last time. Not now. So this is basically, once I retune it tomorrow, get all these halfway, and usually when I send a guitar back to somebody or give one, anyone I work on for somebody or whatever has a Floyd, a lot of times when you get a guitar back from a guitar store, they put strings on it. You're supposed to put these in the middle, put it on there, then they may stretch or they may not stretch. And then when you get it back, you might have one that's down and one that's up, all crazy. So I get them working. It's just something I do. Again, it's that OCD. And then I'll get it all in tune. And then I'll put these where they're all even. Right at that halfway mark, right where they're all even. Once it's in tune, I'll change these. And then what I do is go from the center locking nut here. I'll crack it loose, then tune those two where they should be with those still. So you get it back. Alex will tell you he got his and Laz's brother's guitar the same way. It's all in tune, new strings, and these are all in the middle. I mean, most people won't take the time and do that, and that's fine. Again, it's just my OCD-ness. I just do this stuff, the way I would like to have it done. That really nobody ever did. Plus, I'm actually working on guitars now for 3 bands. Fortunately, they have enough guitars where I could set up, a few of them, and I don't have to be at the shows. So I do all the stuff for Faith and Failure, obviously. And then I do stuff for thrash metal band. Here I'm talking, not paying attention. Called Bolt Action, and I think they're on Spotify. So I do all their guitars and basses, and then I do the guitars and bass for a alternative type band, all except for the singer. She didn't even change her strings for 5 years because she liked the sound, and then I guess one of the guys in the band changed them for her, and she threw a fit. Said he ruined her guitar and everything. I guess the action's real high. That's just how she learned to play it, and she doesn't want anything changed. And I mean, I'm talking real high. I've seen the pictures of it. You can damn near put your pinky under it on this end. But that's how she got it. No one ever set it up for her when she got it, and she learned to play it that way. She wants nothing changed. So, but it's 3 bands I do all the guitars for. So as soon as I get this on, pretty much done. I thank everybody for hanging out tonight. And I apologize for not being able to follow the chat as good as I wanted to in the beginning. And I apologize for Firefox kicking me off and then my antivirus shutting down everything. I just need to make sure I take that scheduled antivirus check off there. The antivirus will be on, just the scheduled scan. Let's change that. So with that, everybody, thank you for hanging out and watching me do whatever it is I'm doing here. And again, if you guys would like to donate any guitar parts or guitars for a good cause, my email is right there. Just send me an email and we'll go from there. Helps keep gift music alive, and who knows, maybe y'all may be part of the next Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Johnny Cash, Taylor Swift. Y'all may end up having a hand in making that person who they will be. Everything back where it should be, so I know where it is. Oh. And also, with that said, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. I don't know if Johnny's planning on a show on Wednesday, Christmas Eve, but I know if he is, I won't be there for that because the whole thing, everybody's going to have family from all over, and we're all going to be at my daughter's house. So I won't be here Wednesday. Hopefully he does a show tomorrow and I'm on it. That'll be the last time I see you guys until Friday. So just in case he doesn't do a show tomorrow or doesn't invite me, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and New Year. May 2026 be better and easier on all of us. And more than anything, everybody stay safe. Jesus. Everybody stay Hold on. Let me drink my ocean spray here for a second. Everybody stay safe over this holiday season if you travel. I know the Northeast, Maine, Vermont, Boston, New York, MPN side of Pennsylvania is all going to get hit with heavy snow for the next few days. We, unfortunately, are getting rain until after the first of the year. Then it's supposed to change back to snow. So stay safe. Stay safe. Why am I having a hard time saying that? So if I don't see you tomorrow, then again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's to everybody. And again, I appreciate you all for being here. And well, as Ozzy would say, I love you all. All right, everybody. Good night. And thank you again. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow night. And I can say all this again. Good night, everybody. Shan! I was just going to say, Dio, go to hell. Good night, everybody.